Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's July, so I'm going to make my monthly check-in video with you guys. Thank you very much for even staying subscribed. I wanted to ensure that we stay in touch throughout this waiting period for Gotham Knights. That game is still kind of on, it's in the oven, still being cooked up in the Warner Brothers Montreal studio. So we're going to see exactly how things turn out. Now, this video is pretty much a video that's not here to tell you that, a few weeks ago, Warner Brothers, the leak came out from an industry insider that Warner Brothers Montreal may be working on a Superman game as their second game. This is something we suspected for the longest time. In fact, we thought it was Rocksteady that was going to be doing this game. I made a video as one of my first videos on this channel anyways, talking about how I thought a Superman game was quite logical for Rocksteady to make, but apparently it was Warner Brothers Games Montreal while Rocksteady was working on a Suicide Squad game. I think more importantly though, is you could read the state of the community from these news articles, from, social media, from YouTube videos talking about this, that it just didn't really seem to, create any excitement. I think we are now past the point of looking for leaks or whatever. Gotham Knights is the game that we know is in development. We've seen some, in quote, gameplay from the alpha, which will more than likely change drastically by release. I think that delay is a testament to it. There are going to be a lot of changes from what I've seen. I think one of the big deals is combat, but I don't want to argue that point, because if I do, I'm going to see that, there might be people who say, well, the combat's fine. It's not Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight seemed like it had unrealistic combat. Arkham Knight had the best combat that you can ever dream about from a DC game so far, and Warner Brothers Games Montreal pretty much has a huge pair of shoes to fill when it comes to making sure that their combat is smooth. I mean, you're seeing Batgirl fight here, and I've seen the complaints that some people have said, well, it's a little unrealistic that you can snap from character to character. That is a game mechanic to die for. I bet you. So we'll see what Gotham Knights is able to pull off, but I hope they do a good job. I mean, I would love to play a good game and a refined game, but man, this is just a high standard that they have to meet. But back to the Superman reaction thing. I think what might be going on is because of the huge delays. I'm talking decade-long delays from the Warner Brothers studios in charge of making these superhero games. It appears that these games are probably losing a lot of steam regarding excitement and all. Think about the kid that was 10 years old when Gotham Knights when Arkham Origins was released. Think about the kid that was 10 years old when Arkham Knight was released. If you think about it right now, they have added almost 9 years to their age. I mean, that's insane. Many of them are probably going to be 19. Some of them are going to be, they were kids and now they're going to be 20 years old, and they weren't even, teenagers when these games first released. Their tastes and their preferences in some cases may have changed. I'm not saying every single one of them would have had changes in their preferences, but it's quite interesting to see how they're going to be able to rile up another audience or a new fan base to this. Because right now, if you go and look at, say, the audiences that are being built up, it's not necessarily a lot of the DC audiences. I think Star Wars right now, Marvel right now, is really creating the next set of Marvel fans for the next few generations. So these delays have not necessarily only cost time of development. It's probably created more of a vacuum than they could envision just because of the long run. I wish I could spend a lot more time talking about this, but again, like I've said in the past, we're only going to talk about the things that are quite pertinent for the meantime, and we're just going to see how this stuff plays out. For those of us who have been, long-term fans, yes, we're still going to be here supporting the entire project and all of that. But, who's to say that there are going to be a lot of people around? And who's to even say that, the gaming industry is going to allow for these guys, in the Warner Brothers studios that make the DC games to just go untouched. Games are getting better. They're getting more competitive. Development teams are starting to get better in their processes. So it's going to be a very different landscape. And so this Superman game that they're working on, I don't think we need to be hearing any more leaks about it. I think what needs to happen is they need to be instead putting out more information and a little bit more chatter about the Gotham Knights game so that can create the buzz that it needs to create and then fulfill its own obligations to the player base that is interested in playing it. Because like I've said, if not, they're going to leave a vacuum. Spider-Man right now and the Marvel superhero universe and all of that in terms of video games seems to be gaining a lot of ground. Now, for the meantime, they don't have as much quality as, say, Arkham Knight. If you look at, say, Avengers and even the new Guardians of the Galaxy game from the reveal, it doesn't seem like it's going to have a lot of that kind of quality. But hey, don't underestimate what, that continuous try and continuous push and pull can actually achieve. I mean, Marvel is basically dropping these games like crazy and exploring more and more superhero casts. And if they strike the right one from the plethora of characters that they have, they may just win over a lot of people who enjoy these superhero games. But again, I'll leave it in this part of the conversation. I want to hear your thoughts, and it's so good to, basically just put out a video talking to the community. I really do enjoy doing these, but I wanted to keep my chatter to a minimum because right now, the developers for these games haven't really said much, so I don't want to say much more than they're saying in this season nonetheless. Thank you so much for listening to the video. Thank you so much for those of you who have stayed subscribed. I really appreciate your time and audience. Hopefully we'll get the Gotham Knights game and we'll kick our conversations into gear, or we'll get more news that will be pertinent to what we love to talk about on this channel, which is, Batman, DC games, even storylines and comics and so on and so forth. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.